Oh, we're at Lama Tsongkhapa Institute in Italy with our Venerable Lama Yeshe just after His Holiness the Dalai Lama has left. And we would like to continue to ask Lama some questions about the development of the centers throughout the world, and perhaps some advice on how Lama feels about the development and the future direction of the centers. Huh? Lama, how did the very first center outside of Nepal develop? How did it begin?
First of all, many years ago, that many students come to search something for their certification in India and Nepal. And then many students sort of asking me to come instead of they have to come all the way. You know, better you have to come to West. And first beginning, I'm a little bit shaking. Yeah, uneasy. You know, such simple monk in the going to super samsaric world. But I accepted their invitation, and it was 1974, and then I went to America and give several lectures. Then after that, I went to Australia. At Queensland, and I give 1 month course there, and that is the sort of cooperative course, and students decided, they should have, the center to facilitate the Buddha Dharma teaching, and their, dedication, their is very strong, and I say, okay, if you want, that is your baby, you're welcome, and also they donated land about 160 acres by the Dr. Ney and Yeshe Kantu and Tom and Kathy.
So it was only 4 people who were mainly responsible for the first center beginning, or was it a larger group?
Well, large group expresses, but particularly, and these are the people actively involving and completely dedicated, and they're giving their life and their body, speech, mind for developing this center. I thought,
by that time, had most of the students in Australia already been to Nepal?
Yeah, many are, yes, that time too, yes. Then it is just empty place, and then they built, meditation komba, and residential guest room, and student apartment, and that way, sort of naturally, it developed up to now.
Now that was the very first center that actually developed practically. Did you, for the other centers that came afterwards, follow the example of that as an experience to draw from?
I think so. Somehow, it is natural, each time I went deep in the country, and there are already collectively students, previous, Nepal, and they say they, sort of, no question, they express it, they like to be somehow group gathering and putting energy. I personally, it is very reasonable. I thought they are very sincerity, And in Western world, under such a orientation of heavy samsara, you know, students went back, they lost their head, you know. You know what I mean? You know, I understand. I completely understand Western, you know, environment is so, you know, exploited, you know, superstition, pollution of the mind. And I can understand the baby of their understanding, taking refuge, understanding lumbering is so baby, so they disappear sometimes, you know. And I thought it is something essential, what they're asking, their life to be gurumly involving and to carry continuously they are practicing. I thought it's so natural. And so I let go, you know, I let go. I didn't say I don't want a center, you know. I just told them, center is your baby, you know, what I can do is blah, 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 you know, then say goodbye.
So you thought one of the main reasons for the centers in the West was to continue the practice of the Dharma
Exactly.
in a good environment.
Exactly, yes.
Because what reason?
Because in, you know, Western environment, it is totally, you know, I mean, set up, which is anti, you know, practicing of Dharma or anti-practice of religion. Even though West we do have, you know, religion, you know, I understand now why Western religions degenerated, you know, because the orientation of, you know, environment, which is sort of overwhelming, you know, sort of explosion of the dualistic, you know, delusion, you know, and this is the I understand. So therefore, I also not only accepted they are, you know, wanted to center. I told them somehow, you know, it is essential we making correct, you know, environment in order to, you know, sort of, you know, living the confrontation, you know, sort of developing confrontation in terms of awareness, you know, and to training and the readiness to go, you know, such a polluted city, you know.
So did you see then the one of the main purposes of the centers as an actual physical place for of refuge?
That's right, exactly what you say, exactly, because I feel my own experience, you know, my own taking refuge, I feel each year I need go retreat, strict retreat, you know, and then I can cope my life maybe, you know, you understand, and my blah 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 is useful. And I feel same thing West student, when they are working such environment in a city, they need each year at least, you know, certain, you know, amount of time space to go exclusive meditation. And that's why I think it's very, very useful. Otherwise, we put so much energy, short period, or 1 month, 2 months. After they go back, their environment completely vanishes. So I think it's not worthwhile. To bring in Dharma West world is something we are continuously development, and it carry, you know, to the generation to generation, not just sort of trip, you know. And I think that's why to establish it, especially community style, living situation, shared situation, to be exercised, you know, Mahayana, you know, universal concepts into the daily living life. I think that is very, very important. Because what is the problem in Western world is we are capitalistic attitude and we are materialistic attitude. So therefore, we are too much, you know, individualistic, you know, selfish attitude, not sharing each other, you know. And this is the, you know, you cannot avoid it. That is the, you know, the foundation built up society. So we need some way to break down such a concept, or of transforming that energy into the something sort of, transcendent, a peaceful, experience.
Now, for that to take place, obviously we need to receive teachings. We need to receive
For sure.
clear instructions from qualified teachers.
Understand?
And one of the great fortunate things that you have been able to provide nearly all the centers with is very, very highly qualified teachers.
So.
Would you like to say something, Lama, about, first of all, about the teachers themselves that you have chosen, and how you feel the communities should look to those teachers in their centers?
Mm-hmm. Well, I feel that we are, something involving bigger scope, Therefore, if I'm thinking I can do everything, it's just an ego trip, You understand? I cannot do anything. I cannot do everything, So therefore, I really believe what I choose those teachers, those geishas or durgas, whatever is in the center. I really believe, I trust them, to lead my student or my center to benefit, large scale, international levels or universal levels, or, to bring, Mahayana thought, a universal, attitude. And therefore, my understanding is that all the students involved in there, they should look, as, they are spiritual leaders, isn't it? And that they should have good communication, reasonable communication with the spiritual leaders.
What has been the basis of your selection of the teachers for the centers?
Well, I try as much I could, something, those teachers have sort of training and intellectually and psychologically, philosophically, and practically, or most of them, what I choose is also same, disciple of same guru as I do, So I believe they have same, they're better quality, maybe, Some of them is same quality, maybe because we are same kind of race, Some of the better quality than me. So therefore, I think we do have similar, things to offer for the student.
Did you approach them to ask them to go to the centers, or did some of them come to you?
No, really, those the teachers, they really not, some of them not keen, to go in the West, Then I choose what, please go to teach them.
So you really had to put some pressure
Yes.
on them to leave the Tibetan communities.
Yes, sometimes yes. That's right, yes.
So that really they've been making quite great sacrifice from
Yes,
their
some
own,
of them, yeah,
from
some
their
of them.
own commitments.
Yeah, some of them also push, they want to
Yes.
go, I don't know what that means too, So what can I say?
Everybody likes a broader experience.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Yeah.
What do you think from the point of view of the teachers' responsibility in the centers, how should the community members look at the teachers for the responsibility of the general program, the general activities of the centers?
Mm-hmm. Well, that things I think is very important to have, sort of broad view, and to have sort of, strong attitude to sharing, the idea, between the our teachers, geshes or lamas or tulgus or whatever, and the directors and the spiritual directors Western. So I feel without linking, without a strong connection, without making firm, connection, understanding each other, it's very difficult to be useful, making programs, making presentations. So therefore, as I see, it's all important. Everything's so important. You
So
understand what I mean?
communication
Yes.
between the members of the community about their activities and their future projects, planning and so forth, should be really closely
Yes, closely.
closely linked with the teachers themselves.
Yes, yes. In teachers or student, the planning, directors, not communication, I think my understanding is not so good vibration, Then we cannot, give Mahayana thought,
Becomes
I think,
limited.
yes, because it's conflicting, If you conflict, if, for example, you are the director, Brian, you are director of Lama Tsongkhapa Institute. I'm the teacher here. If you and me, something, break down, and I think that is most, disaster, and the root is breakdown. You understand what I mean?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, I feel, to bring Dharma West to the world is something really special, isn't it? Something really, you have to, you have to sort of, give up your personality. Some of your personality have to die, isn't it? And then link it, some of the, Western, personality, and this way we both are, sort of putting together energy forcefully, and then we become successful.